Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some muzzleloader testing. This is something a little bit new and different on the channel. We haven't done any muzzleloader tests yet, but hey, deer season's here, and for me, muzzleloader season is about a week and a half away or so, and I've got a new muzzleloader, so I got to test it with a few different loads and see what it likes. So I figured we'll make a couple videos out of it and see how y'all like it, and we can also figure out what my muzzleloader might like. So for the new setup I picked up not too long ago, I snagged a CVA Wolf. This is a 50 caliber, just standard inline muzzleloader. This one's got a 24-inch barrel on it, I believe. And up on top, I threw a Hawk Vantage IR. This one does have their muzzleloader reticle in it, and it's got some very nice eye relief to it as well. So very basic, pretty cheap setup. I think I got this for just a hair over $200, but CVA has pretty much always made good stuff, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what I can get out of this Wolf. I'm not a huge muzzleloader guy, especially when it comes to older style traditional stuff, but I've used plenty of just standard modern inline muzzleloaders for deer hunting purposes and stuff like that, and that's what this one's going to be used for. So now we got to figure out a loading that it likes. So the bullet we're going to start off with are some of the Powerbelt ELR 50 caliber bullets. These ones are the 270 grain variety, and here's what those bullets actually look like. Nice long pointed nose on them. I've had decent luck with these ELRs through a couple other muzzleloaders that I've got, so in theory this CVA should do halfway decent with them as well. For the powder we're going to be running, it's just going to be your classic IMR White Hots. These are a pellet style powder, not a loose powder. You can kind of see them right there through the little sight window in the box. I myself have never used White Hots. I've always used the 777 or the Pyredex pellets personally, but I figured, hey, new muzzleloader, I'll try some White Hots in it, and technically that's what CVA recommends anyway, so we'll see how they do. And of course we can try a few different powders and stuff from here. And the primers are just going to be some Winchester 777 209 primers, nothing fancy here. So for how we're going to do this, I'm going to be running 2 pellets of those White Hots, which comes out to 100 grains worth of powder. That's very standard stuff for your average deer hunting inline muzzleloader, nothing fancy there. I've already roughly zeroed this muzzleloader this morning with a couple shots through it, but I did swap the barrel out real quick. Nothing major, but it does have a few shots through it already, so that way it's not a brand new bore. So as for how we're going to run this test, I'm going to shoot 2 groups, one at 50 yards and another at 100. Both are going to be 3 shots, all of which will be through the chronograph. Hopefully it doesn't get smoked out and it actually reads our bullets. As for cleaning the muzzleloader, I have put 2 primers through it, just the primers, to put a little bit of soot on the barrel as of right now. So we're going to shoot our 3-shot 50-yard group. I'm not going to clean it at all. Then after our 50-yard group, I'm going to do a quick just wet patch with some isopropyl alcohol and then a dry patch just to knock some of the big deposits out of the barrel, but no major deep cleaning or anything. And then I'll put another primer or 2 through it just to put some soot on the bore, and then we'll go out to 100 and take our second 3-shot group. Might not be everybody's favorite flavor on how to do it, but I want to keep it simple and consistent, so that's how we're going to run it today. So hopefully we've covered all of our bases. Let's get you guys a view of that 50-yard target, start shooting some groups, and see what we can actually get from my CVA Wolf with these Powerbelt 270 grain ELRs and some White Hots. Alright, so let's take a look at our chrono real quick before we look at our target. It seems like we were getting mid 1500s or so on average from 100 grains worth of White Hots with a 270 grain Powerbelt. I wouldn't mind seeing a touch more velocity, but we do have a little bit shorter barrel than a lot of muzzleloaders do, and I could always go up in powder charge if I wanted to. But we had a high of 1584, a low of 1520. That gave us an average of 1555 with an extreme spread of 64 and a standard deviation of 24. So at an average of 1555, here are your energy numbers for a 270 Powerbelt. That's plenty good enough for a 100-yard and in type of deer hunt scenario, but it's nothing too over the top either. But how did they do for accuracy? Let's go check it out and see. All right, so let's take a look at our target now. And initially, I would say they're pretty much average. They're not anything super special. Now, I don't expect precision center fire rifle type of accuracy. Generally with a muzzleloader, if I can get a touch better than a slug gun at 100, you know, 2 inches or thereabouts, I'm pretty happy with that. We can sometimes get better or worse, but I think these are probably somewhere in the middle. We'll start on the left over here with our 50-yard group. We had 2 bullet holes that are pretty well touching and one a little bit farther over to the right. Might have been a little bit of a flyer. I felt good about all of my trigger pulls, so kind of is what it is, but I think it's pretty proportional in size from 50 to 100. But at 50 yards, we had 1.81 inches worth of group, and if that flyer was me or anything like that, then we could have potentially seen a little better than that still. But now we'll move over to our 100-yard group, which was these 3 down here. And again, I did a quick 0 with this muzzleloader earlier, so we got us close here. So I may need to give it a few clicks up, but no big deal. And this really isn't too bad. That's absolutely a minute of deer out to 100 yards all day long. And that group is 2.84 inches. So pretty much if I follow what I just said about typical slug gun accuracy, having just a touch better than that, I usually look for about 3 inches at 100 from a slug gun, and we're just under that here. So yeah, it would absolutely work. If you do your part on the trigger and put that bullet where it needs to be, I mean, there's not going to be a deer that walks through a sub 3-inch group at 100 yards. So overall, I think it's a decent starting point. These are the first groups I've ever shot from that muzzleloader, and of course, we can test different bullets, we can test different powder charges, loose powder, pelleted powder, any of that, and dial it in a little more than this, I'm sure. But right off the bat, I'd say we're good enough for a deer hunt, and that's what that muzzleloader is going to be used for. So at least now we have a starting point, and we can figure out if that's about what we're going to see from that CVA Wolf, or if we can dial it in a little bit more as well. Not horrible to start out with. I'd call it pretty decently average, and I'll take it. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance right there? I think we pretty well covered it. It's good enough, but I do think we can get better from it as well. That CVA might like a little more or less powder, a different type of powder, a little bit different bullet or bullet weight or anything. These are the first 2 groups I've ever shot with it. So now we've got a starting point, and maybe we can dial it in a little bit more than that and find what it likes. But at the end of the day, for somebody that's going to use it for a 100-yard and in deer hunting scenario, that's going to work just fine. It might not be the best out there, but it's going to do the job. So now it's down to just testing some other combinations and seeing what I can get from this CVA. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Do you have a CVA Wolf or any of their other muzzleloaders? And if so, what kind of bullet and powder combos does it like? Is this a combo that you would actually hunt with? Or would you prefer to see it a little bit more precise of a group, or maybe a little more velocity or anything like that? And if y'all like this muzzleloader testing, then what other bullets or powders and stuff like that might you want to see me try through that CVA? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.